All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we get into some current events, LPDS current events, and then I think we do a little recap of Christmas, New Year's on the LPDS side of the house, the Libretti family recap of all that stuff. Plus, we got a pretty interesting cage fact as usual, so all that's coming up right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti. It's a show that talks about nothing but tries to find the lessons in everything. We have a good time doing it. Share a few laughs along the way. Hope everybody had a good week. I had a pretty okay week, I guess. It was where are we here in the timeline of life? We're at the week after New Year's, so I had a decent New Year's week, New Year's break slash work week or whatever you want to call it, because there was some work involved in there as well. If you're looking in YouTube land, I have my blue backdrop up that I was talking about. I've been trying to dick around with camera angles here in the dungeon and video stuff for Spearhead and stuff like that. So I just decided to put the background up here, and behind is just a bunch of trash. So I didn't want to, even though it's not taking up the full screen, that's a big problem I'm having is figuring out vertical or horizontal camera positioning to block out as much as possible to get the back, or to get this backdrop to cover as much as possible. But I don't have a particularly wide backdrop, so it's been tough to figure that out. So maybe I have to get a second one and just split them, split the difference so that it covers most of the ground. I don't know if I want to do that either. They're not super cheap, and I don't necessarily need it that much. I don't think people care that much, but from a video side of things, you could do some pretty cool stuff. I didn't do anything with adding images or trying things out. I just have a couple of things saved already in my Zoom folder, so I could change the background up if I want. Like first, I could do this if I wanted to. If you're looking in YouTube land, and that's pretty good. Like you could see in the front, wherever the backdrop is, it's pretty clear. I'm not blending too much into the backdrop. You know how when you blur your screen on Zoom or you create a fake green screen, but you don't have an actual backdrop to use as a green screen, you kind of get lost in the blur or the thing. Like, look at if I this is so stupid. If you see my hand here in YouTube land and I back it up, you can kind of see how like I'm on the backdrop, so it's not disappearing behind the backdrop as much. It's doing pretty good to block it. Other spots it doesn't do as well. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. I've been dicking around with the video editing stuff, so that's what I was trying to tell you guys. It's been a long couple weeks already here in the dungeon. As you can tell, I'm starting to get interested in listening to the shanty music here in the basement. So, but I will show you one thing here too that's pretty cool. On Zoom, you can choose green screen, and the background image or effect that you want to use can be relegated just to the green screen that it picks up on the screen. So it picks up my blue background, blue screen, green screen. They use pretty interchangeably. So you could see how, like, if I wanted to, I can move this backdrop somewhere in a more artistic positioning in the video, and I could just put specific images just on that backdrop too if I wanted to. So I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, uh, That's what I've been doing the past week in my spare time, which hasn't been much, thankfully, because the more spare time I have, obviously, the more crazy kooky things I do with myself. So, um, I've been doing that in my spare time. Uh, anyway, where are we? LPDS current events or light or world current events. First things first, I want to get this out of the way. The New York Giants, football giants. Um, a lot of the fans are angry at them for a different reason now. So if you haven't been following the NFL, the Giants are basically the worst team in the NFL. They stink. They were on their way to excuse me, they were on their way to the first draft pick, first pick of the next of this coming draft or whatever, or next year's draft or whatever, which is good, It's good to have that, but it also means you're the worst team in the league. And then they go ahead and they play the Indianapolis Colts, and Joe Flacco's playing for the Colts, and he's 100 years old, and the Giants put a whooping on him. So much so that the QB, who was a backup QB, really, Drew Lock, he actually had what according to whatever this analytic is, it's called EPA. I don't even know what it stands for. Estimated points average per game. I don't know what it stands for. But if you go by that stat, by the EPA stat, Drew Lock had the best game from as a quarterback in Giants history against the Colts, and it was like the sixth best, like in the last 25, 30 years. Something crazy like that. And he stinks. Like he's a nobody. He's a career backup quarterback. He's a nobody. And he seems like a nice guy. He works hard. He's not complete dog shit like I am. Like football wise, I'm dog shit. Really, he's dog shit in the professional sense, like comparatively to other professionals. I'm just dog shit at football, and I'm okay with that. Obviously, I'm okay with that. I'm not a football player. He's he's a bum in the pro level. Like he's a lower level pro. He's barely pro, and he had the best game in Giants history as a quarterback for that stat. I think he had like 3 touchdowns. He rushed for a touchdown, no interceptions, no sacks. It was crazy. And the Giants won their third game of the season and effectively basically ruined their chances at the first overall pick in next year's draft. They're still going to get a high first round pick, maybe like a fourth pick overall. Excuse me. But it's likely not going to be the first overall anymore. And the Giants fans are all up in arms about it. They're so pissed. I can't believe they won this game. They should have just kept tanking the season, and now they're not going to get the first pick of blah. This is one thing I really hate about New York fans. And it's not all of them. I don't want to generalize too much, but New York sports fans, specifically the Giants and Yankees, I think the Jets fans understand a little bit better. I guess they're more used to garbage teams and how the world works, I guess. I don't know. But what gets me really angry about these fans is almost like their willful stupidity, or as Dwight Schrute's sister calls it, willful ignorance. The Giants are not trying to tank a season. Sports teams, as much as you think they do, and as much as you can joke about it, and you can kind of put your sports tinfoil hat on and talk about like, oh, they blew this play because they're tanking the season so they could get the high draft pick. Pro level players, competitive pro level players, are not tanking games. Okay, a it's their contracts give them bonuses and amenities and benefits for winning and doing well. Okay, it incentivizes them to keep playing even when their team is in last place. So them tanking, or even if it's just a couple of players you think are tanking on purpose to try to help the team lose, it doesn't suit them. Okay? From a selfish perspective, it doesn't suit the players to try and tank games for draft picks. Draft pick doesn't really mean shit to the players. But those bonuses do, those insurances do, all those benefits and amenities and incentives do. So selfishly speaking, individually, why would they have zero incentive to tank a game when they're actually going to be they're losing out on their own money and benefits if they do so. And guess what's more important to them than draft picks for their team? Their own personal benefits and amenities. And I don't blame them either. You're not going to see me sign a contract that says you'll get bonuses for rushing over for over 100 yards each game and this and that, all these different in-game bonuses. And then we have a chance to get a first round draft pick or a first overall pick. I'm like, I'll forego this $50,000 bonus for rushing for 100 yards or more so that we can lose, so that we could get a first round pick, because then our team might be better in the long run. I don't give a shit. If my team stinks and I do bad, nobody's going to want me on any other team. But if I do good and my team stinks, I can walk. I can go find another team to play for. AKA Saquon Barkley. Okay? So that's one thing that gets me pissed off. The second thing that pisses me off is you're getting angry at them for losing the first overall pick. They're going to get like the third or fourth overall pick now. Okay? They're going to pick the same person. There's a slight chance they miss out on the number one overall prospect, which is I think Deion Sanders' son, Shedeur Sanders. I think it's Shedeur. It might be Deion Jr. I don't know who it is. But he's the quarterback for Colorado. The Giants don't need a quarterback. Okay? They need an offensive line to protect the quarterback and their running backs. They need a defensive secondary to actually stop running wide receivers from walking all over them, running them to the ground and embarrassing them. They don't need a quarter. You could put anybody at quarterback. They've proven that. You could put anybody back there at quarterback, and they're not going to be good without the offensive line to protect them. So you're bitching and moaning about, oh, we're going to lose out on Shedeur Sanders. All you're doing is you're sparing Shedeur Sanders 5 years of playing for this dog shit operation that does not have any sort of inkling of getting better anytime soon, actually fixing their own problems anytime soon. Excuse me. I'm getting hoarse down here in the dungeon. Probably the air quality. So forget about a quarterback. For once in your lives, forget about getting what the media and the TV and the fans tell you is the cool thing to do. How many first overall pick quarterbacks have become the great stars of their teams? You could probably count them on one hand in the last 30 years how many number one overall picks as quarterback amounted to anything great. Now there's some that have played and they do okay and they stick around for a full career, and that's fine, and they're average at best, which is good. You're a pro, you're an average pro, that's pretty solid. That's a good career. But you're wasting that pick. If anything, if you got what you could get mad at as a Giants fan is if you lose out on that first overall pick, you really lose out on the opportunity to trade that first overall pick for either better players now that can actually help the team get better. Shedeur Sanders is not going to help the team get that much better. I'm sorry. He's a really good quarterback, and I think he's going to be a pretty good quarterback in the pros. He's not going to be able to do shit if he only has 0.5 seconds to get rid of the ball because he has no offensive line and no protection. So you're going to hurt that guy in the long run, and you're going to ruin his career if you put him on a team like the Giants, or if you start him too early, like most people have been doing with first-round quarterback picks, is they start them right away, they don't develop them, and then they have shitty careers, and you're like, oh, another bust of a quarterback. It's because you ruined them. So That's probably a good thing for Shador and the Giants, honestly, that they don't pick him because it would ruin him and it would continue to ruin the Giants more. But the only thing you could logically get annoyed with is you don't have that first round pick to trade for either a good group of players now, maybe a couple of O linemen now, or uh, you know, lower level first round picks in the future. Like, oh, I trade my first overall pick for, you know, this player and a first round pick in 2026 and a first round pick in 2027. Now in 2026 and 2027, you have two first round picks that you can find guys and help. Now you have that's potentially four first round picks in 2 years that you can help improve the team with. So maybe that's a little annoying that if they miss out on that, they could still do that with their first round pick if it's fourth overall or third overall. There's going to be teams at the bottom of the first round that are itching to get that pick. So you might be able to negotiate with that. But you getting a quarterback, which is what they're probably going to do, you're stupid. Okay, and the fans, I'm sorry, but you're stupid to get angry at them for missing out on Shador Sanders. He's not going to be the savior. No quarterback that you pick in the first round of this draft is going to be the savior of the New York Giants. They don't need a quarterback. You could put anybody out there. It doesn't matter right now. Drew Lock is doing a fine job as a quarterback right now. And he'd be doing even better if he had an offensive line. You'd start to think, how has Drew Lock, slept on this whole time? It's because he's played for teams that have shitty offensive lines and no protection. He's not a terrible quarterback. He could be average at best. But we'll never know because the Giants don't have a team to protect him. So stop. This is for all the other Giants fans. Stop bitching that they won. They blew the tank job. They ruined the opportunity for the first pick overall. Shut up. Okay? It wasn't going to do anything. And they weren't trying to tank, and you shouldn't be mad at them for not tanking. Okay? And give me a break with that. Look at the worst. Look at the teams who've had the first overall pick the last several years. Newsflash, they're still the worst overall teams the last several years. So this is not the saving grace. Stop acting and crying and bitching and moaning like it was going to be the saving grace and you blew it. Stop being so stupid, please. I know you're not stupid, but you're acting stupid. You're making stupid decisions and having stupid thoughts and having stupid opinions based on zero critical analysis and logic. We have to be better fans. Stop doing that shit. Anyway, the Giants put a whooping on the Indianapolis Colts, and I wasn't mad about it. I thought it was almost funny, honestly, that when it doesn't matter at all, they're doing work out there. So good for them for the win. All right, moving on. Very briefly, this whole New Orleans attack and the Las Vegas explosion, Cybertruck explosion thing. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to get too tinfoil hatty, but this is what I want to say on it really quick. Don't believe what the mainstream media is telling you about this stuff. Okay? I can't exactly put my finger on what is making me feel this like so uncomfortable that this thing is all fishy and suspect. Um, I, there's not one individual thing that I could say this is the reason why I think it's fishy. There are a number of factors and pieces of evidence and things happening with these situations right now that make this thing reek of a setup, some sort of inside job. And again, I don't want to get too tinfoil hatty. I know people are going to think I'm crazy for even suggesting that. But This thing stinks, absolutely stinks of a setup, of some sort of false flag inside situation, not what they're telling you on in the media. It's I am convinced it is not a simple terrorist attack. I'm convinced of that. I can't tell you what I necessarily think of it. I don't have that, like, I don't know yet to make an opinion. My only opinion is that I think this whole thing absolutely reeks of meddling and setup and shenanigans. There's just too many coincidences and inconsistencies and all this other weird shit. I mean, these guys are both military members. You haven't. I don't want to get too much into it. Military members, they're all their internet history, their LinkedIn profiles just got miraculously wiped as soon as they got busted or shot or whatever after the incidences. The dude in Vegas, like, was already dead in the car from a gunshot wound, saying he killed himself. But he also sent an email saying that he has information on war crimes and other things that different agencies were like. The whole thing stinks. They both rented their car from the same companies. Like, they miraculously found a completely intact, like, ISIS flag on the dude in New Orleans, and the dude's ID in the cyber truck was also completely intact. Like, but everything else was destroyed, and his DNA doesn't match what, like, the whole, like I said, I don't want to get too tinfoil hatty. It's very early on in this situation, and I know I sound like a crazy person. All I'm asking you to do is not just blatantly, like, blindly believe whatever the TV is telling you, whatever the mainstream media and the news reports are telling you about this thing. It is not as simple as coincidental terrorist attacks on the same day, and that's it. Nothing else to see here, folks. I know they're going to try to bury this, and they're going to bury it like the Trump assassination attempt. That kid had no utensils in his entire house, and nobody seems to care. Like, they completely wiped his house clean of everything, and then they tried to tell you it's a normal thing. We see this all the time, empty houses. But again, I'm tinfoil hatty. I get it. I know. I even feel crazy thinking about it. But something's fishy about this whole situation. Something ain't right. And when we find out, hopefully we find out the truth soon enough. I have a feeling it's just going to get buried and people are going to forget about it, and that's exactly what they want. Whatever, fine. But something's fishy about this whole friggin' thing. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I could go on for hours, folks. I could go on for hours about crazy rabbit hole conspiracy pieces of evidence that why I want to tinfoil hat this so much. And a lot of it has to do because I enjoy the tinfoil hattery of things. I enjoy finding out, like, sometimes you almost want there to be tinfoil hatness to something. This in particular, I don't. Um, Stuff like aliens, I like the tinfoil hattery of it all. And what I'm doing now is I'm mixing in my enjoyment of fun tinfoil hattery with serious stuff like this situation. And I have to stop, so I don't want to get too much into it. But I could talk for hours about this stuff. There's so many things. And then if you get another person involved in the conversation who is all in on this, they live in a bunker. I know it kind of looks like I live in a bunker right now. Maybe that's what's doing. I live in this dungeon right now. It's got corrugated, like, aluminum walls. It looks like a legit bunker. No joke. So maybe that's what's doing it for me, to me, I guess. But you get a guy who lives in a bunker, who eats non-perishable foods, has a stockpile, and says, they're coming for us and this and that. You get that guy in the conversation of any conspiracy, and it's off to the races. So I can definitely get on board. Like, I can get that conversation going for hours, but I'm not going to. I feel crazy. almost sleazy trying to think about like say that out loud, but something's fishy about this thing. Okay. And I know people are going to push back and be like, well, the government can't even run the post office. I'm the one of those. The government can't even run the post office. I get it. So how are they going to be able to have all these conspiracies? It's not just there are people in agencies that are capable of doing this shit at a smaller level, like a smaller group of people of capable people that keep the bigger government folks out of the loop, obviously because they're stupid and incompetent. So I don't, on one hand, how can the government continue to do all these conspiracies and get away with it, and when they can't do shit for the US, they suck at their jobs. I get that. But on the other hand, something's like there's too many fishy pieces of evidence that don't jive with the storyline so far. Not to mention the fact that if you think about it, they're sloppy. The most recent incidences that have occurred have been sloppy. Like I said, the whole fact that the assassination attempters' house had zero the kitchen was empty because what the tinfoil hatteries say is the FBI came in, they were helping this kid the whole time, and then they had to come in and clean out all evidence of any involvement on their part, and they emptied the house out. That's what they're saying. But they didn't do anything extra to be like, they didn't buy new utensils that didn't have their fingerprints or whatever on it. They just emptied the house out and then just tried to sweep it under the rug. And they actually highlighted themselves in a negative light in that regard. So they're still incompetent. They still can't even do a cover up well. So, like I said, I don't know what to believe in the tinfoil hattery, folks. I just like to like it's always on my brain. For better or worse, I'm always going to ask the question when something happens in the world these days. I'm always going to ask the question, is this the real story? And for better or worse, sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a real bad thing. I get that. I understand that some of you folks listening are probably rolling your eyes at me right now and like, get over it, dude. You sound like a psychopath. I get it. I understand. But something ain't right, folks. Something's missing. Something's missing, all right. Anyway, moving on. Sorry, I had to take a swig of my high-end water here. I'm not drinking peasant water right now. I got the good stuff, even in the dungeon. But my throat's been dry. It's been a lot of temperature changes here in Jersey, so it's been jacking up my sleep schedule and sinuses and throat stuff and what have you. So I apologize for that. But a quick tomato update for you guys. As I mentioned previously, when I became Tony Tomatoes, I had all those green tomatoes. Well, I've been doing my stuff to try to get them to turn red. I still have about, I don't know, 150, 200 tomatoes, give or take, in different bags doing different things to try to ripen them up. And I've so far have pulled about 50 that have ripened. So it's not all of them, but 50 is pretty good. And I boiled 25 of them, and I crush them into sauce, into crushed tomatoes, and then I just got another batch of about 20 or 25, and I'm gonna boil those and skin them and core them and do all the stuff you got to do. So we're making some progress. Okay, we're gonna get sauce out of these tomatoes. All right, I'm not gonna be able to pass out any tomatoes, unfortunately, but we are gonna get some sauce out of it. I'm not gonna I'm not letting this go. We're getting sauce. Okay? The peppers, on the other hand, I have a little bit of bad news for anybody out there who was expecting a delivery of LPDS peppers. As you know, I brought a bag home full bag of peppers with the intent of keeping some and sending some out to folks. Well, JPL3 got a hold of the peppers, and let's just say we don't have any to send out anymore. That's that. Now, am I mad about it? No. It's not like they were stolen. It's not like some some loser got a hold of them, and it's not like I ate them myself selfishly. It's JPL3. If he wanted to cook them, make them, and eat them, that's what I brought them for family. Got it. In the hierarchy of family, if he wants them all, he gets them all. Okay, so I do apologize to everybody out there who was expecting a couple. You're probably not going to get them. Maybe next year. No promises though. JPL does like his hot peppers. So anyway, that's the update. I'll keep you posted on the tomatoes as things happen. And if I get them all ripened up, that would be what a treat that would be. Anyway, with that, we'll get into the good stuff. Step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Basement Burgers. Are you currently living in your parents' basement and are tired of having to constantly go up and down the stairs and share the kitchen with your parents every time you get a hankering for a snack burger? Well, now you don't have to with Basement Burgers. The BBD is an all-new venture under the Tony Riggs Enterprises LLC that ships and delivers a month's worth of freshly microwaved Burg Daddies right to your doorstep so you don't ever have to make your own burgers again. And because it comes in a gas-powered heating container, the burgers will stay nice and warm and moist all month as you chip away at your stash. So to secure your delivery subscription of Basement Burgers today, visit www.slidercity.com and use the promo code FURBURGERS for 29% off your first delivery. I don't know where I got that from. I haven't even had a burger since I've been here. Sometimes you get a hankering and you don't want to go upstairs and cook it yourself, I guess. So get some Basement Burgers. Stupid. Anyway, the cage fact. I I think most of you are all familiar with the movie The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, Marissa Tomei. She gets naked in it, and he does wrestling, and then he does steroids, and he might die, and you don't know at the end if he's gonna die or not, and that's the plot of the movie. That's a terrible, that's a terrible synopsis of the movie. Anyway, Nic Cage was going up for that role of the wrestler. And before they got word that Mickey Rourke was getting the part, they were both sort of, part of the group vying for the role. Nic Cage went to a pretty well-known Samoan wrestling school. I forgot the name of it. I know the wrestling world is familiar with it, like Puka Nakua wrestling camp or whatever. I don't know. Probably related to The Rock and his family. But he went to the wrestling training to train as a wrestler to prepare for that role. So he has wrestling experience. He can get in the ring if he wants to and know what he's doing and have a little bit of wherewithal. Because he was preparing for the movie, and as you know, Nic Cage goes all out for his roles, so he wanted to make sure he actually knew how to wrestle. I believe Mickey Rourke did too. I think he knows how to wrestle a little bit too. I can't confirm or deny that he went to a training camp like Nic Cage did, but I know Nic Cage did. Unfortunately, he didn't get the role. Mickey Rourke played a good part. That was a good movie. I liked it a lot. I think Mickey Rourke would tell you he regrets all the steroid use to get to become the look for that part, for that role and all that stuff. But he played a good part, so I have no issue with that. But I would like to see a Nic Cage version of that movie and him, blasting away at Marissa Tomei. She gets naked in it. Anyway, that's it. That's the Cage fact. There you go. So, all right, moving on over to the junction. We'll spin the logo up. Not much today, guys. Not much today. I recorded the last 2 weeks episodes that you listened to or watched on YouTube. I recorded them all before Christmas and New Year's. One right before I got to New Jersey, and one on the road answering some questions. So while they came out after Christmas and New Year's, they didn't really cover it. I guessed on how good my Christmas and New Year's was. So I guess we'll do a quick recap and then we'll be on our way. In case you guys were curious, I talked to several people to find out how their holidays were, and it seems pretty good, which is nice. And for the most part, my Christmas was basically what I said was going to be in the previous episodes. We had a nice time, Christmas Eve. Everybody came to my parents' house. We made a nice meal. I'm trying to think what we made for the meal. What the heck was it on Christmas Eve? I don't remember. It wasn't turkey. No, ham. Maybe there was some macaroni. There was a lot of macaroni involved. I don't remember the entree, like the meat entree. We had some fishes. We had some of the seven fishes because that's what you do. Christmas Eve, we used to do only fish. The different fishes, only fish and sides. But as the Christmas Eve tradition grew and the family grew and kids came along, more people didn't like just fish. So we had to keep adjusting. And my grandmother and aunts and great aunts and uncles, like they started making macaroni with meatballs for the kids who didn't like the fish macaroni. The macaroni with like the anchovy sauce. It sounds gross. Got it. And if you don't like anchovies, yeah, it's gonna be gross. But I grew up on the stuff. I like anchovies. I never had a problem with it. I like that it's like an anchovy and olive oil sauce, if you will. It's good. I love it. Um, so you started making spaghetti with meatballs or just macaronis with some meatballs. And then you start adding in the cheese boards, the charcuterie boards of the prosciutto and the salamis and the cheeses and the what have you. So, and then you start adding, oh, well, this person eats only chicken. And so now it became a huge, giant Christmas Eve like extravaganza at my grandmother's house and then my great aunt's house in New York. And then as people started going off on their own, like their other families, in-laws, and this and that, people were dying, unfortunately. The thing started getting smaller again. And now we're doing Christmas Eve at my parents' house, and it's basically just our immediate family. Every once in a while, every year, every once in a while, an outside extended family member might come by, but it's rare because as you have, as people have kids, they start branching out, and then as people get older, they pass on, and things change. Got it. I understand. The traditions are still there. We still make most of the fishes, mainly for my father and I. My mom eats a little bit of it. My sister will eat some of the stuff. Same with my brother, but not as much. Me and my father are basically the ones that eat all the different fish stuff. So we did some of that. And then we had some macaroni and some meatballs and sausage for like the kids and the people who are not, my he's a Jewish fella. He doesn't do the seven fish. He doesn't do Christmas. He's not a Christmas guy. He's a Jewish guy, a Hanukkah guy. So he made regular food for him. He does eat a lot of the stuff that we make on a holiday. So he's pretty good. He's not a picky eater, which is good, and he's not um, overly restrictive on like, oh, he's not a super strict Jewish fella. He's more open. He'll celebrate Christmas with us. He'll do Easter's with us. He only does Hanukkah wood because his mom celebrates. She's big, very religious or whatever. But he's open. He loves it all, and he's a good sport about it. So he'll eat some of the stuff, but it's really the fish is from my me and my dad, and then the other stuff is for everybody else now. So that's what we did Christmas Eve, and then we opened a couple gifts. My nieces and nephews opened a couple gifts. My one nephew is 6 months old, 7 months old. He didn't open shit. In fact, I don't think anybody even wrapped gifts for him because he's a he can't walk, he can't do anything. He takes hello. He takes dumpies and naps. That's all he does. Got it. That's all you're supposed to do. So, the other kids opened some gifts and it was a good time. Christmas Day, we went over to my sister's house. And that's because they have the kids. My sister's got the kids. So all the gifts are going to the kids. So why would they all drive back out to my parents or somebody else's house with their whole family and then pack the car with their family and gifts and bring them back to like their house? Center, ground zero, if you will, of Christmas is going on. It's going down there. And my sister made this like pot roast thing. I think it was a pot roast. It was meat, so I was on board with it. I liked it. We had some decent appetizers. Um, we had a breakfast beforehand. We had a nice diner breakfast that I got to eat most of. Somebody ate some of my food. I'm not going to mention who. I'm not going to get into the story. I'm not terribly mad at it, but I don't live up here anymore. So I don't get diner food like you do up here anymore. I get Texas version of diner food, which is still good. It's just different. So I ordered my food and somebody ate part of my meal. And initially I wasn't happy about it. But I I am proud to say I took the LPDS step back. I took a deep breath and I removed myself from the situation to the point where it wasn't even a problem. I went somewhere else. I started opening gifts with my nephew, and it was a good time had by all. So that's why I want to bring that up, not because I'm mad about the meal, because I'm proud to say following the big three works when you follow it. It's very tough, and I fail at it constantly, but when you follow it, it really works and you feel better about it. So that's what I did. I followed number two. I didn't respond negatively, and we were good to go. But Christmas was good. I got a sweet fanny pack from my brother's girlfriend. She got it as a gag gift. Joke's on her because I'm just gonna wear it as a real gift. And if I remember, probably won't remember like I usually do, but I'll post a pic of myself up here on YouTube for you to check it out if you haven't seen it when I posted it on my Instagram. Cool little fanny pack. I got a nice shirt from my mom. It said, you know how like I always get the gag gift T-shirts from my parents, from my mother that I always like. This is like Libretti University, Libretti Winery. I love that shit. This one said like Libretti Brothers Salvage with a junk like with a garbage truck on it. I love that because my family owned the junk shop back in the day, Libretti Salvage. And I like these shirts. I'm gonna wear that to the gym and stuff like that. So I thought that was cool. Uh, and that was it. Christmas was a nice time. It was low key. Wasn't a ton of people there to make it loud and crazy. Everybody got the gifts they wanted. My mom got a laptop. My father got a new printer he wanted. Everybody was happy. Things were good. So I hope everybody had a good, happy Christmas and holiday too. I know not a lot of like most of you people or I don't want to say most, but I know some of you did not, and I know some of you do not look forward to the holidays. Uh, and that hurts my heart because I love Christmas and Thanksgiving and the Holy Triumvirate, the Holy Holiday Triumvirate. I'm a big fan of that because I don't have to deal with big family problems or traumas or toxicity or shit like that. At least not nearly as bad as some other people. Um, and I know there's people who have dealt with loss over the holidays, so only the holidays only bring back those memories of loss. I get like that's tough. And it hurts my heart that it happens. I wish there was something that we could say or do to help fix that, but it's not my place to try to force feed my holiday experience on somebody else. I just hope that you were able to get through it okay. And if you ever want to talk, if you're one of those people who hates the holidays and has to and deals with some sort of trauma every time the holidays come around, or it's miserable for you and you need an outlet to vent about it, hit me up anytime. You could call the hotline if you want, but more comfortably for you, you can hit me up in the DMs or send me a text or an email or whatever. You can vent about it and talk about it then, and I'm here for you. I'm always able to hold space for the important people in my life that need the space to be themselves and be open and transparent without feeling judged or made fun of or anything like that. So anyway, New Year's, I did nothing. I don't know what you guys did on New Year's. I did nothing. It was awesome. In fact, I don't, so I didn't do nothing. I hit the sticks, baby. Okay. We did New Year's sticks and I had a grand old time doing it. All right. I helped my parents out a little bit. We made some hors d'oeuvres for dinner. My mom on New Year's likes pigs in a blanket and usually like pizza rolls and quiches and spanakopita's and what have yous. So we made that shit. That's what we do. Super Bowl and New Year's, if I'm home, we'll make that stupid crap food for a little bit. Got it. Fine. It's one day. Get a workout in beforehand. You eat healthy, otherwise you're good to go. Whatever. We did that, and then my parents napped, and I sticksed until midnight. And the ball dropped. I went upstairs. The ball dropped. We did our, Happy New Year, and I was back down on sticks or watching Hallmark Christmas movies the rest of the night. It was great. The only time I actually go out anymore, if I go out for New Year's, is if I go to a friend's house and we stay in at their house. Otherwise, you know how I feel about New Year's Eve. They were talking again about the people sitting out there all day wearing diapers so they can watch the ball drop. And I think it's starting to get a little bit more like publicized how crazy that is and how stupid it is and how it doesn't make any sense for what to watch. Like you can watch the ball drop on TV. You're not getting anything different there except you could say I was there. What were you there for? Like, what, where were you? I was there. I watched the ball drop. Yes, so did I. And guess what else I had? I had a toilet. I had a warm weather. And also, I didn't pay $1,200 for a table at Applebee's in Times Square like some of you other clowns did. I just don't get that. Like, oh, I want to be there. Always wanted to be there for the bowler drop. There are certain experiences in life that I just don't understand the desire and the obsession with having those experiences. And this is one of them. Being in Times Square to watch the ball drop doesn't make sense to me. They don't have anything for you. You're not meeting special people. You see, sometimes they have performances, but not everybody gets to see them because they have a small stage set up in one area, so you're not even hearing or seeing the performances. You're just standing there in a pile of people pissing and shitting themselves. Tell me tell me why that experience needs to happen, like why everybody has to have that experience in life. We already had it. We were babies, pissing and shitting ourselves. Got it. I already checked that box. Don't need to do it again. Why would you like I if someone could tell me the thing that makes it worth it to go to Times Square on New Year's Eve, let me know. I'm open to hearing it. I just can't for the life of me find out that thing. Like it's not even like a Super Bowl game or a World Series game. Like, oh, if you see your team win, that's special. Then you could say I watched the dog pile, or I watched Reggie Jackson hit 3 home runs in a game, or I watched do playoff stand things physically at the game I was there. Maybe you catch a foul ball. Maybe you meet one of the players and they sign an autograph. There's always one thing at sporting events that you can kind of tie the logic to. Loosely tied. I mean, it's still expensive. Like I wanted to go to a Yankees World Series game this year, but I didn't want to pay $1,000 for standing room only tickets, so that's why I didn't go. I couldn't justify it that much. But I was still planning on going. Like I wanted to go just to be there physically. Like, oh, if they win the World Series, I would like to be part of that. Where is that in the New Year's world in Times Square? What are you being a part of? The ball drops. It's the same ball every year. It's not like your team or a player or a human being or a hero of yours. It's an inanimate object. It's a mechanical ball with lights, and it goes down. And it's like controlled by somebody not there. That there's somebody else who's warm and cozy with a toilet near them. And you're all gathered around this inanimate object, literally shitting and pissing yourselves next to each other to watch this thing go down. I don't get it. Somebody please help me find the thing that justifies doing that as an adult. I Anyway, my New Year's was great in that regard. It was a little busier in the gym this week after, the couple days after when I was going to the gym. Not much busier. And again, I'm not mad about it. I've seen a lot of videos of these fitness influencers getting pissed. Leave the gym. We don't want you in the gym. Get, your fate. Like, we know you'll be gone by March. Just spare us all. Like, I hate that shit. I understand the frustration. I get the frustration. You're there every day, and now somebody new is fucking up your routine and making, and jacking up your life for the rest of your day, really, because now it's going to take you longer. Maybe you have to change the time you go to work out. I got it. It is frustrating. But there was a time where you were new to the gym as well. Okay? And there was a time when people were probably judging the shit out of you for being there. And saying the same exact things to you or about you. Get out of the gym. This is my go here. This is my gym. I do this every day. You don't do this every day. You're a newbie, and all you're doing is causing trouble. Get out of here. But you didn't get out of here, and now look at you. Now you're a gym goer. You're a gym bro. You're a gym gal, whatever they're called. Because you didn't leave. So why are you getting mad at these people who are just trying to be like you? Don't. Show a little empathy, show a little grace, show some understanding. These people, whether they stick around or not, they're still in that moment, they're trying to get better in their lives. And you should be helping them out. You should be applauding them. You should be a hype man for them. Because there was a point in your life where you were that person. So I hate that shit. And I don't even like people when they joke about it. Like it's not a funny joke. I'll joke about anything and I'll laugh at any joke about any topic as long as I think it's funny. I have yet to hear a funny joke about the quote unquote like shitbag newbies in the gym, the fatsos in the gym that come in here and take up our time in January. Find me a good joke and maybe I'll laugh at it. Otherwise, I have yet to find a good joke. So just don't waste your time trying to even joke about it with me because it's likely not going to be funny to me anyway, personally. It's going to fall on deaf ears, and I'll probably just like pretend to like it on your Instagram, but really I don't care for it. Just let them work out. That's what I'm trying to say. It's New Year's. You want to do New Year, new me? Stop treating newbies at the gym and the fats at the gym like pieces of shit. Treat them like human beings. Do it. Be a new you. Be okay with them coming in the gym and trying to get better. That's why I hate the New Year, new me bullshit. Because nobody, it's new. It's never new you. It's never new them. It's the same them. The new them is the same exact thing that they're bitching about at the gym. Oh, it's a new version of you from January through March, and then you backslide into being the same shitty, judgmental piece of shit person as you are every year. So you're doing the same thing. It's just not in the gym. It's just mentally, emotionally, just in yourself. So talk about a hypocrite. The New Year, new me movement is dog shit. Okay? Because anybody who actually is trying to change for the better and be a new version of themselves, they don't wait till a new year. They just start immediately. And we've talked about this in the past. Just do it. They just go after it and start changing and start getting better. And you can see them actually noticeably making efforts to get better. So that's a big reason why I hate the New Year, New Me movement every New Year's. Because it's the same people saying the same shit, falling into the same patterns, and there is nothing new about it. There's nothing new about it. So just say like, same New Year, same shit, same pattern. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not gonna get mad. I'm not gonna judge and be like, told you it would be the same. No. So if you like your life, you don't have to change your pattern. So there you go. There's no one's expecting you. There's no, I don't know, there's like this like unspoken obligation that when the new year comes around, you have to have a resolution. You have to change something. You have to do this and you have to do that. No, you fucking don't. Okay? And if you're worried about people judging you on it, don't have those people in your life. Okay? They're not your real friends, they're not your real family if they're judging you on everything you're doing anyway. But if you're happy with your life and you're already making moves to improve or get better or get happier or whatever it is you're doing, and you don't want, like, let's say you started in July improving something, self-development in some way, shape, or form, whether it's going to the gym or learning a new skill or whatever it is, and then the new year comes around and things are going well. You're making progress following your process. You're seeing results in the positive direction, and you don't need to change anything. You got to stick with your process, and you'll keep getting better. Good. Do that. You should not feel obligated to change. But people are going to say, like, oh, it's a new year. You have any resolutions? Nah. I'm going to keep doing the same thing I'm doing because it's working right now. Well, you should always try to change. No, you shouldn't. Change is inevitable anyway. It's going to happen. So you don't have to try to change it. Shit's going to change. And if shit's going well for you right now and what you're doing is working to get you where you need to go or you want to go in life, don't change. It's completely fine. You're not going to get any judgment from the LPDS. And if you're getting judgment from people, you let the LPDS know and we'll get them on the hotline. And we'll really take care of business with them there. Or we'll go to war with them. Legal war, of course. Figurative war, of course. In case anyone wants to clip these and try to tell me I'm a warmonger. Warmonger? How you doing? I'm a figurative warmonger. I love a good figurative war. You know that. I do not like real war. I'm good at it, but I don't like it. Anyway, that was my New Year's. Great New Year. I got some hors d'oeuvres, some pigs in a blanket daddies, some PBDs, some spanakopita's, the frozen kind, the garbage frozen kind from the grocery store. I had some nice like chocolates for dessert. I watched the ball drop. I hit the sticks with the pals. I watched the Honeymooners marathon after and some Hallmark movies after. Like, tremendous New Year's, folks, for me. Tremendous New Year's. Can't complain. I hope you guys had a good New Year's too. And I hope you guys take, take note of the message that we just talked about in the new year. Don't be judgmental. Don't worry about people being judgmental to you. Get rid of those people in your life. They're not gonna, they got their own problems. If they're spending all their time judging others and criticizing others, it's because they don't want to do the inner work themselves. They know they have the problem themselves and they have their own hurt and pain, but they're just diffusing and deflecting towards somebody else. And I wish them well on their journey of healing. But that's not your journey. Dump them. Focus on yourself. Keep doing what you're doing. If it's good, if you don't like where your life's going, change it. And don't worry about the haters, and don't hate on anybody else for trying to do their thing. And that's all I got today, folks. Before we go, very quickly, the big three, the three pillars to staying strong and being a healthier, being a happier. What do I say? What the hell do I say? The three pillars to staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, and passing that positivity and goodness to all those around you throughout the land. There we go. Number one, exercise every day. Doesn't have to be a physical exercise every day, but do something every day to improve your fitness and health physically, mentally, or emotionally. So whether it's a physical activity, a workout, a walk, jumping jacks, a run, whatever, or it's a crossword, some mental puzzles, word jumble to break that mental sweat, or it's praying, breath work, meditation on the emotional, spiritual side. Do something every day. So on your physical rest day from the gym, do some puzzles, take up a new hobby, read a book, do some praying, whatever. You got the focus is on your health and fitness, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Number two, the hardest one to do, don't be a shitty person, be a kind person. That's the hardest one to do because it's easy to say, just don't be shitty, be kind. Don't respond negatively even if somebody deserves it. But in the moment, when somebody's being an asshole to you or somebody's a bad person in your eyes and you think it's justified, emotionally, your reaction, you just want to snap at them. You want to take the jab at them. You want to put them in their place. You want to shut them up. I'm asking you to not do that. And it's as simple as taking the LPDS step back, taking a deep breath, detaching yourself from those emotions, and just omitting yourself from the situation. And most of the time I'm talking online. In person or over the phone, it's a little different. You have to omit yourself. You have to actively omit yourself from a situation. Instagram or on social media, if you're trying to, if you're thinking about responding negatively or initiating a negative post or conversation, you just put your phone down and you're gone and you're out. Go focus on more positive, productive things. In person, it's obviously harder. The emotions are rising a little bit more aggressively. But it's a simple thing to do. You just not respond to your negative emotions and you leave the situation so that you're minimizing the negativity going on in the world and you have the capacity to focus on more positive, productive things in your life. In reality, it's very difficult in the moment. I get it. It's a constant struggle for me day in and day out, as I mentioned before. So I understand, but we have to try each and every day to be better at it. Number three, this is going to help you with number two, the most important one of all, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. If you spend most of your time, most of your thoughts and mental state in that state of gratitude, you're going to be much less inclined to respond negatively to someone or to be a negative, shitty person to somebody. So focus on being grateful for the good you have in your lives, genuinely, by actively taking time to think about the good things you have in your lives and thinking about how shitty your lives would be without that stuff. And that'll put you in the state of gratitude. And as you do that more and more throughout the day, more of your time will be in that gratitude state. And the more time you have in that state of gratitude, the less time you have available to be negative and shitty with people. You're just not gonna feel like even responding to that crap. And with that new found time and appreciation, you go focus on your exercise and your physical, mental, and emotional health and wellness. And if you do all those three things together each and every day, a little bit each and every day, I promise you'll be a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being. You'll be able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you and throughout the land. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends and enemies. And let me know what you think. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know what you think of this setup. I could do a lot of adjustments with it. Well, not a lot, but I could do some adjustments. If you think there's a better angle, I could try to make it happen. In the meantime, hit the hotline, 202-670-1114. Tell your friends and enemies about the hotline too. 202-670-1114. I want to get some more hotline calls. I might have had some. I haven't checked in a little bit. I haven't gotten any notifications, but that's just because I'm signed out, I think. So I'll sign back in to see if there's anybody calling in, and I'll get to you. But give me some calls. 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.